Hi, everybody. Welcome back. I'd love to see all of you guys. Thank you for joining us. It is time for art, and I'm your host, Hershey Petty. We want to give a special thanks to anybody who is joining us for the first time ever. We've got some new subscribers, some new artists that joined our community of artists this month. So welcome, guys. If this is your first time, you'll see that. Take a look at your calendars. You'll be able to see every day what we're doing and what we got planned. Today, you can see is May the 4th, and much to Allison's annoyment, I'm going to say, like, May the 4th be with you, because it is that day. And as you guys, as we all are getting set up, we're going to start the day with Allison's going to do a little bit of stroke practice warm up from last week, or from Monday, what we did that day. So you can follow along with her if you like, or you guys can continue to get set up. And speaking of following along, these videos, Allison's going to go at a pace at every single one of her classes to kind of keep in mind, time and detail of instruction. You guys are welcome to follow along with her any chance you get. I try to myself sometimes, but you absolutely don't have to. Take your time with this if you'd like, or follow along with Allison, keep up, because these videos, as soon as we're done for any video, they are immediately available at the finish of every live stream. They're available on YouTube and on Facebook. So you could go back, see what we did, rewind something if you need to, fast forward in parts if you don't think you got something down. So don't worry about it. Have a good time with us. Interact with us in the comment section. Say hello to your other artists out there in the community. Say hello to me, say hello to Allison, whatever you want to do. That's the only way that we know that you guys are here having a good time with us. So we hope to see you in the comments as well. And then as the principal project tonight is going to be the Sunday vellum from your kits, from your confections kits, this guy right here. So go ahead and get that out. I believe you're going to need all the colors tonight. You'll also need your transfer paper and your please get that stuff ready. Well, let's introduce Allison, and she's going to show us some stroke practice warm-up. Hi,
Hello.
Allison.
Hi, Hershey. And I just want to make sure you have your labels, you have your transfer paper. This is what we're going to be painting, and your templates. So I just want to take you actually just first for just a moment while everybody's getting ready. I wanted to take you through, I started painting in my journal, and this is the first one so we did our color wheel, and then I played a little bit with the donuts. So I just painted a page kind of in an abstract kind of freeform way. And then I have one to the side that someone started chewing on. So, and then I painted a couple more pages. This is, Hershey, did you see it?
Yeah.
This guy over here?
Yeah, I did. I think that's great.
Yeah. And so we I painted a few more pages, and deciding if we want to do stroke practice on one of these, and I want to do this on a clean, I think I might do that. So we're just gonna do a little bit of a warm-up, since it's the journal day, and I think it's a good day to do some of this stuff. And I think, so it shows, I'm going to warm up with my cobalt blue.
Okie dokie.
I got it all over my fingers somehow.
Also too, Al, we were discussing before the live stream started, we were discussing the template challenge for May.
Yes.
It is totally different from before. Allison, why don't you tell them what the template challenge is this time?
So the template challenge, if this is your first time, means you take one of these templates and you finish it in your journal. It doesn't have to be painted. I think most of them have been, but you transfer it into your journal. You can mess with it. You can use two, you can do anything. And we've done different ones. We've done use two, we've done use a sign. We've done this time like a writer's prompt, and everything is acceptable. You can use any paint that you might have left over. Any of that is the quote, caught with your hands in the cookie jar. Don't have to use cookies. Don't have to, that's your motivation. caught
I love it.
jar. So you don't have to say it, you don't have to write it, but that is what we're doing. So yeah,
Allison, with this group of mischievous artists that we have, they're always being funny in the comments. Like, I can't wait to see what we get submitted.
So great. And so just for stroke practice, the only thing that doesn't come in your kits is your water. And so just have a cup of water handy. And I'm just taking a little bit of water and loosening up my paint. And I'm going to start with just some wide strokes that I pull. And we're just dropping our brush down and pulling it towards us. And then I think I'm going to probably paint over this because I think it's going to probably look really cool. Dropping.
We were discussing too, Allison, if you guys have had some of our other journals in the past, and now you've got this this new journal, the pages, just keep in mind, they don't hold as much water as the other ones. So keep that in mind when you're using water to lighten up your paint.
They don't. And it wasn't something we noticed right away. There might be some tweaks. So I'm just making some wide strokes and I'm pulling them and I'm just kind of seeing how long I can get the paint to last. So that's kind of, it's the width of my brush. And then I'm going to do some short strokes. And we talked about this before, but we can do it again. You get your brush nice and wet and you kind of squeegee it to a really fine tip. Just like that. And you take a little bit of paint and you just start making some short strokes. And look at how tiny these can be. And sometimes I give myself little challenges, like I'm going to try and make a bunch of strokes roughly the same length, roughly the same width apart. We're giving that a try. I say this all the time, but I'm going to say it again tonight. It is always, always, always easier to pull a line than it is to push a line, which means you can move your paper. There's a lot of ways you can do it, but you kind of want it always coming at you.
Oh, that's a good way to remember that.
Hershey, who's on tonight? Do we have anybody?
We have on tonight. Let me tell you, I'll read you the usual suspects. We've got Melissa and Melinda. We've got Ruth and Caroline so far. Nana Brown is watching.
Fantastic.
Hi, Nana. And so is Michelle Poor.
Fantastic. Welcome. Anyone else want to say hey? It's the only way we know you're there. And then I'm going to grab my pencil and I'm just going to make some kind of curved shapes to get started. So it's kind of an amoeba looking, kind of a rubber ducky. Wasn't the intention. We're happy to have you. And I am just going to kind of pull my paint stroke, pull the line around the edge of this kind of amoeba shape. And this is just a workout we're doing. Just good practice. Sometimes I think it's good that if you've already done some of this work, your first stroke isn't on something you want to finish.
Ooh, yeah, I can see that.
But here's the thing, if it is, big deal. Let it dry. Moving on. So there's my kind of rubber ducky amoeba shape.
Okay.
And then let's do kind of a rectilinear one. Let's do maybe a couple boxes. So here's my square. Here's a rectangle. I get out a little bit more blue paint. And this is just a great thing to do if you're watching TV or killing time, listening to a podcast.
And you're trying to fill those journal pages.
Yeah, just do some stroke practice. Just get out some paint. See where it ends up.
Caught red-handed, caught with your hand in the cookie jar. I'm gonna be thinking about that.
And in the cookie jar is the prompt. And don't think you have to like draw a hand or a cookie. Not the point. Not what we're doing.
Yeah.
And cool if you want to. But that's not.
Oh, I'm so excited. I can't wait to see.
Yeah. We'll put that up. We'll put that up in the group. Caught with your hand in the cookie jar as the name of the template challenge. We should start announcing the template challenge in the group. I just thought of it. We tell it to everybody, but.
Yeah, right. It's old news to the people who are following in the group.
Yeah. But this way, if you forget it, or you're like, what was that? We can say template challenge announced. Caught with your hand in the cookie jar. I'm just kind of filling this in. And then some other strokes, and we'll wrap up our warm up in a minute, that we like to make. You can practice little dots and kind of trying to make those consistent or intentionally inconsistent.
Or appear random.
Or appear, that'd be harder.
Yeah.
Asking anything to appear random is highly challenging. We just don't do a good job of it as humans.
So funny.
Another one, little wisps. Do you want them to be consistent? Do you want them to crisscross? I like to kind of do these sort of rickrack wisps sometimes in my journal.
That looked like really good. That looked like a nice piece of art shaping up there.
Well, you know, it was every bit as random as it looked. And then sometimes I like to just kind of free association scribble with my brush. Kind of in the corner here. Like use it like a pencil.
I want to say a shout out, Michelle Poor and Cheryl. They were both saying hey to us in the chat section, so I want to shout them out.
Hello, we're so happy to have you, Michelle Poor, our last template challenge winner.
Yep. And if you you win a gift card to Starbucks.
You win a gift card to Starbucks that I don't think we've sent to Michelle yet. So
we have not. We need to do that. We also need to do
good reminder.
Yeah, lots of stuff.
There. Michelle, we haven't forgotten about you. All right, so that's gonna kind of wrap up stroke practice for today. Everybody's got their stuff out. We are going to transfer. If this is still kind of wet. So one of my tricks is to grab a page of something. If you've got a page, maybe from your other journal or even something like this, and just tuck it kind of in there. This is some scratch paper I have. And I'm just gonna fold it over. I'm gonna tuck this underneath. So everybody can see both, right? Everyone's got a good.
Yeah.
All right. And then we're going to use all the colors. And then we're going to do the ice cream sundae. And I have the ice cream sundae I took this from right here that I drew this from.
That's always cool. I'm glad you include that.
Well, if we're painting from something, that's what we're going to do today. And I think we're mostly going to use this brush right here. I don't see really a need to use a whole lot more. Watch, I do, but that's the plan at the moment. Until I change my mind. And with this particular template, you can either get your scissors out and trim it because it's a little, the image is the right size, but it's a little big for transferring. So I like to rip my paper.
This has got hot fudge, it looks like, and walnuts, and a cherry.
And a cherry, and crunchy cookies.
Yeah.
What I would have gotten most excited about this would be the crunchy cookies in the hot fudge in the ice cream. Like grabbing one of those and like having a, yeah, that would be my motivation. Okay, so I've trimmed this down a little bit and I'm just putting it right on my page. And I'm going to take out our hinging labels. And if it's your first time, we hinge our templates to our paper with hinging labels, just like this, so that.
And secure down your template. Don't skip
Secure
this.
down your template. There's no reason not to. We give you everything you need. You are going to take your graphite paper, sticky, shiny, waxy side down, tuck it underneath your template. And the reason we do the templates on vellum is that, let's say in the composition you were doing, you wanted to flip this over and you wanted the cookies on the left side, not the right side. We're there. That's how it's done. You can see right through it and do it. And we're just going to, with kind of minimal pressure, trace.
You know, Allison, when you made a suggestion months ago, when we first started, of using some sort of pencil or pen that will leave a little bit of mark so you know what you've gone over and what you haven't.
Yes.
And I've used that. I found myself many times using something that didn't leave a mark and switching because it's so helpful.
It really is helpful if you use like a red pen, is what you're saying, or a blue pen, or something that you can see. Yes, actually, the way I've got the table lit, I actually can really see the graphite showing up on here.
Okay.
Funny enough, so it's every bit as easy for me with a pencil, but yeah, you definitely want to see where you've been and where you're going.
You know, and when I say make sure you got your template, whatever, even when you're done tracing, like you're done tracing, you think, oh, I don't need this guy anymore. Yes, you do. Leave it there.
That's the thing.
Don't.
It's a luxury you can afford yourself, is the way I see it.
You're right. That is a good.
I'll show you what we're talking about if it's your first time. That you will peel up your template.
You'll just need it.
It'll be right there. This one. And how important are these lines? Not very. We're going to be painting over them. I know some people very meticulously trace this stuff. Can. Not.
You know, to all the artists out there in the community who are following along, I don't know if you could tell already, but we are going to be painting some glass effects today. I don't know how that's going to go. Like, I'm super excited about it. I've seen Allison paint it before and I've never known how she did it. So I'm excited to learn today. I think you guys probably will like that feature of today's presentation as well.
I think you will love it. It's one of those that just looks cool when you know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Okay,
It's
so
also one of those things that implies that you know what you're doing when it looks cool. If you
that's a
just
really
stumble
good thing.
into it. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm a little weak in here. So because I left my template hinged,
Ashante.
oh, issue there. Come around this way. All right. We got a cherry on top of a sundae, and I'm going to kind of rearrange my workspace here so everybody can see what we're doing. All right. So the first thing I look for is it going to help me to fill in my background? And I very intentionally chose a white sheet of paper on this time because I don't think it's really going to. This is kind of this is almost a white. This is almost a white. We're just gonna paint our image. So we're gonna start there. Next thing, if we want to work backwards to forwards, Hershey, what do you think we should start painting in first?
If we want to work backwards to forwards.
Right. So So what's the most underneath layer we're gonna put in?
Looks like the white of the ice cream and the brown of the chocolate syrup.
I think that's exactly where we're gonna start. We're gonna let that dry. And then we're going to do our vanilla ice cream. Yep. And then we're going to do the toppings sequentially on top of that. And then we'll get back in there after that. But yeah, this is a good place to start. And Hershey, I know it's the white of the ice cream. You had correctly identified that. But how white do you think that is if this is white? If the white of our paper is white?
You know, that's giving me some yellow vibes and brown.
Well, it's certainly darker. So how much darker would you say? Like a step, a half step? How much darker would you call that to be?
I would call that a step. Maybe it's quite a bit darker, but it's just maybe it's just that it's.
It is, and this is an important trick in understanding painting from a realistic source. Is that even though we know this to be vanilla ice cream and we know this to be white, it's considerably darker than our background. So we're gonna get out our yellow ochre and we're gonna get out a burnt umber and put like a flick of that. So we've got about a pea. We measure things in frozen peas here. Think of a frozen pea. Of yellow ochre, we've got like a not even a split pea, a speck.
Okay.
Of burnt umber, and we're gonna put some white in the middle. And working with the brush that we're going to mostly use, I take some of my white and mix it in here. And so right now, this is looking a little peanut butter to me. So I want a little more white. And I want it to be more ash. So I'm going to put in a little bit more of the burnt umber. And that looks pretty good. We're going to be going with kind of a blue
vanilla ice cream color.
Or beneath the glass, vanilla ice cream color.
Okay.
Just like that. And I'm gonna add a little water to it just to break it up. And we're just gonna start painting this guy in.
All right, let's do it.
And remember, it's always easier to pull a line than it is to push a line. So keep that in mind. And we're gonna paint over this again and again and again. So the important thing here is to fill in your area really consistently. And I can really see my lines, so I'm not too worried about losing them with the color I'm putting down.
You're not trying too hard to cover those lines.
Not even a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then if you look in here, Hershey, all of this gets that same color. Do you see that?
Yeah.
So the vanilla ice cream's here, but it fills the visual void of this whole part of the ice cream sundae cup. Not in here, but all through here. So all through here gets this color. Just like that. All right, so is there any more vanilla ice cream that is every bit as dark as this in this ice cream?
Yeah.
Tell me where.
Like right at the crease where it looks like the ice cream is.
Oh yeah. This is as dark as this. And so we're going to fill that in next. So all of this area that's in shadow.
There you go.
Going to get this application. Of ice cream, this color. And then I'm going to go ahead and say also these kind of horizontal crinkles that are in quality ice cream, how it kind of breaks. Put in some of that like that. And then also, just because it's similar in color, I'm going to go ahead and fill in our cookies. And I'm just going to paint them in all one color. Just like that.
Those cookies and that well-made ice cream, as you said, like
yes.
Those are game changer toppings for sure.
I mean, it's my favorite. I want the hot fudge on the ice cream and like to pick it up with the cookie.
Yeah.
All right. So if we are working backwards or forwards, and we kind of want to keep doing that, the next part of our background is going to be the hot fudge in our sundae. So I'm going to take a whole drop of burnt umber, a speck, a twinge, a touch of white just to make it a little bit more opaque so we can fill it in more consistently. And if we want to make it darker again, we're going to start with this layer so it doesn't get kind of yucky, inconsistent. And this is easy. We're just going to paint in these lines, in between these lines. Same technique, pull a line, push, easier to pull a line than it is to push a line.
Everybody knows that.
Everybody knows that by now, but we're just going to keep, keep saying it. You need to sharpen your brush.
Ooh, on this one, you really do. You're right.
But again, don't be too upset about it because this is hot fudge in a sundae. If your hot fudge looks different than my hot fudge in a sundae, it probably should. I'm going to squeegee to the tip, make it nice and tight. Fill in these marks right here. And then because I have more of this and I know where it's going to go, I'm going to go ahead and fill in the hot fudge on top. And that kind of that definitely sits on top of our vanilla ice cream, but this is just the first layer. And it's going to take a few layers to cover. So I'm not gonna worry about that. There is the hot fudge on top. All right. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to find the dark areas in the glass. And Hershey, where are those?
In the base, in the like the pedestal at the bottom thing, and then right where the glass, the end of the neck of the glass. And it looks like maybe the sides at the lips at the top, like where the
yes, the lips.
Yeah.
I love it. All right. It's exactly where. So because this is considerably cooler, would you agree this is a cooler color than our browns? Our browns are warmer. This is more of a red, more of a blue.
Yep.
We're going to take our burnt umber and we are going to take our cobalt blue. Burnt umber. Equal parts, cobalt blue.
It's like special news. Like this feels like a bold color move coming up, Al. This feels like a bold color move.
Yeah, give it a mixy mix. And we get this very cool, dark, kind of neutral, purpley kind of blue. Best I can do. Just like that. And we are going to just in, quite literally, the shapes you see, paint in the darks. So there's some flecks right here. There's some over here. It's kind of something going on. And this is kind of how we did our stroke practice. This is kind of like that sort of doodle line. We're just kind of making some marks with our brush. I always hold my brush like a pencil.
I do too.
Not everybody does. Hold it however feels good. Just like that. It's right here. In the comments, could you tell us if you liked doing a warm-up today?
Ooh.
If that was helpful or it just felt like not quite what you wanted to do. You wanted to get right to the painting.
Oh, we have a really great question that just came in from Jamie Shapiro. Hello, Jamie. Hi, Jamie. Thank you for joining us. She wanted to know, can I paint my ice cream with a different color, but still follow along with the techniques when adding shading?
And the answer, Hershey, is
100%.
Always.
Yeah.
Always, always, always. There are no rules ever, ever, ever. We're not into it. Whatever is in you is how we paint here.
That's the truth. What color was I unsure about having earlier today? And you're like, use whatever you want. You said that before.
Come on. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, great question, Jamie. A lot of people don't try to think that maybe they'll get behind and then they get discouraged about doing the next project that week. Don't worry about it. You don't need to finish a project before starting with us again. Just show up, have a good time with us, paint, don't paint, chat, but enjoy yourself.
Exactly. Always. And then because you can use your templates over and over again, you could have a series kind of like Andy Warhol style of you could do the same Sunday a lot of different ways. So yeah.
Ooh, that's actually a really good idea. Now I want to do that.
Yeah. Be a really cool original painting too, like 4 of them.
Yep.
All right. So yeah.
No, it wouldn't be. It wouldn't be. Yeah.
So I get maybe not.
I don't think so.
We're always asking what a diptych is. All right.
Yeah.
So I just want to show everybody where I painted. Our darks are, I put some over here, along here, around here, over here, underneath here, 2 flecks over here. And we're going to let that dry. All right.
Okie dokie.
Now we're going to finish filling in our exposed ice cream. And I want that to be different, not just a lighter version of the color we already did. I want that to just be a little bit of the yellow ochre. Trying on camera here. And white. So I've got like a split pea of yellow ochre and white. And we mix. And this should look a little bit more yellow than our more ash darks. And I want it to be even lighter. I'm going to add more white to that. And this is like the body. We're going to highlight it after that. Okay. We don't want it to be too light because we want to make our lights to be lighter, right? So there we go. That's our color. Everyone can see it. I'm going to go ahead and wash my brush because I want to sharpen it. And we squeegee to sharpen our brush. Very gentle around the tip. In. And we're just going to paint in everything we didn't paint before in our ice cream. And if you look, we, when we're done with this, have really covered most of our painting.
That's a good feeling.
It's a good feeling. And if we haven't been really clear about that before, we always try and work the whole. We'll never over render the cherry on top before we paint in everything else. We're trying to move the whole painting along kind of all at once.
Is that a style of teaching? Are there different styles?
There's different styles of working. Sometimes when I see things on Instagram or Pinterest, I see people like painting in an eye in a really detailed way.
I've seen that.
And it doesn't mean they're wrong. Nobody's wrong. They just do it differently. The problem with that is you get some things where it's like, okay, and then the eye isn't in the right place. And if I saw it in context, it wouldn't look. So keep that in mind. All right, so our vanilla ice cream is definitely a different color palette. I'm just kind of evening out some of my strokes with a little bit of water. Then our whipped cream. Hershey, what would you say our whipped cream, if this, is it warmer or cooler than our vanilla ice cream?
You know, I would say that it's cooler, like cool.
Without a doubt.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is very yellow, right? And our whipped cream is very white. It's cream white. It's Snow White, right? Yep. And so if you still have it mixed, but if you don't, this is how we made it. It's with the burnt umber and it's with the cobalt blue. And it's this kind of gray color that we're going to end up with right here. And we're going to take a smidge. Mm-hmm. Certainly not a whole pea or a split pea. And I ran out of white in the middle. So drop some white in the middle. This is why we give you so much white. Never, ever, ever want you to run out of white. And we're going to take a nice dollop or two of
dollop or two. That's all right.
I want this to be a little bit darker. We don't want this to be dark. We just want it to be the sort of underside of cream, right?
You're right.
So
like the shadow cast on white.
On white snow, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so I'm gonna wash my brush again, sharpen it. And the darks kind of go in along these spirals. Moving here, around here. This is very dark right here. maybe a tiny bit right along the edge. And then if you add I'll do it in a different well. If you take a speck of this and another speck of this, and use straight up this gray, right? It gets that dark like right here. And again, right here. And around here. There you go. And then the rest of it, I'm washing my brush right now. We can fill in with our white. So everywhere that's not a nut and is whipped cream, we're going to use straight up white. Again, don't be too worried. We're going to put our nuts on top. So I'm not being really careful about the lines here.
Don't go nuts about your nuts.
Don't go nuts about your nuts. That's our bad joke of the day. We get an allowance of one.
I'm gonna say, yeah.
We had some other ones too. Not tonight, but yeah. All
You
right.
said straight up white, right? Is the
Straight up white. That's what I'm using. Yep. All right. So with this same gray that we just mixed, and I'm actually going to mix a little more of it. So it's some of this, it's some of the white and gray, and it's some of the blue gray. Hershey, what are our next darkest areas in the Sunday glass?
In the Sunday glass, it looks like we've got where the neck, you know, the where the glass gets real thick there at the base.
So right here.
Yep.
I'm gonna put some of that right here. Kind of chases up here and around here. Kind of goes over this. So I'm gonna put a stroke right like that.
Okay, nice. Nice.
Yeah, same thing over here. If you look at the lips, we're gonna kind of just drag this right over him. Christine and I sometimes talk about the white veiling technique. This is kind of a gray veil where you can see through it, but it's a little smoky and not quite transparent. Then if you go kind of along this edge, if you look at the actual edge of the reference, it's darker than the background. So I'm going to go ahead and pull a line just like that. Same thing with the edge of where the ice cream actually is. Just like that. And then we got the base. We got, I'm going to say most of this base with the exception of where we'll highlight. So most of this I'm just going to kind of fill in with kind of a looser, and then we'll come in with white later.
Okay, okay.
But everybody, if you're looking at your ice cream sundae, is it looking really good?
Yeah, you know, I'll tell you, I am a little bit, I mean, I have a lot of faith that what I'm painting here on the glass will eventually turn into something that looks like glass.
I promise you. I promise you, I promise you it will. I'm going to kind of take this kind of over this way, like that.
Those lines that you're doing over the ice cream so that so we can see that the glass is see-through, like, can you go over those lines for me one more time? Like, sure. Did you add extra water there?
I would love to. So I broke up this medium gray that we made with cobalt blue and burnt umber with some water. And I am just making some kind of loose wash sweeping strokes across what we already painted. And we did it first so we could do this.
Yep.
Just like that. And then you kind of get in and get out. You kind of leave it alone.
Oh, here.
Bless you.
Thank you very much.
All right. So next, we're moving on here. I am looking at the cookies, and they have these kind of dark squigglies. And they're more peanut butter colored than anything else on here. So I'm going to do kind of equal parts yellow ochre. That's like a whole pea. And burnt umber. And we'll end up lightening that probably. So let's see what this gives us. Yep, that's what I wanted.
Okay.
And we're going to add a little bit of white. That was like a pea's worth. Do you see how this is a more yellow color than that is?
Which one? That one and which one?
This one has more yellow than this does. So that's what we want.
Yeah.
All right. And I'm just going to kind of paint this in, kind of again, squiggle style, along the edge of these crinkles and kind of along the right side of the cookie, right? So kind of in like this, and like this, around here, around here, here. And then similarly, this is about the same color as our nuts. And I am just going to paint in the whole nut for now. We'll lighten that up later in the highlighted areas. So this is kind of our first, it's about to all come together, I promise. Half it all.
Mine looks great.
I knew it would. Told you, remember?
You did.
We strive here at Time for Art Subscriptions to always give you something, even if it's not your favorite, because not every day is going to be your favorite. It's part of how this shakes out, that you're proud of every time.
You can do work here first time out of the gate. You can do work here that you are super proud of, that you can post about, that you can share with all your friends, all of it.
Always. Okay, so in another well or in the middle, depending on what's left for you, we are going to put in some scarlet, like a whole pea's worth, and a speck of white to make it more opaque. And very simply, we're going to paint in our cherry and all of the cherry.
Ooh, that cherry looks good, Allison.
Hey, thanks. Just like that. And then I'm going to go ahead and wash this out and sharpen it again to do our stem. We'll make parts of this darker a little later. Pull a line right here. There's our cherry. I'm gonna let that dry. All right, the next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pull up some straight up burnt umber. And this is dry with some left of my blue paint. Just like this. Drop this in here. And the darkest parts of our hot fudge and the darkest parts of our hot fudge beneath the glass are going to get some just straight up burnt umber. So kind of in here. Along here. Around here. If you did make your ice cream a different color, we're super excited to see it. If you want to post to the group or not, we're all about consent.
Post to the group.
But if it's private or, you're not into it.
Yeah.
No pressure here. We're never going to take something from you.
It's liberating.
Yeah. And then along this edge here. Next Monday, we're going to do drawing of, I think are we doing the ice cream first or are we doing the macarons first?
The ice cream.
All right, so we're going to draw the ice cream next Monday. We're going to take the whole time. We're not rushing our drawings anymore. That was a suggestion with from our feedback.
Nice.
We can do 1 hour-long drawing exercise and not 2 30-minute ones.
That's really good feedback. So whoever took the time to let us know that, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Well, it was just kind of like, I think they said they really enjoy that, but they'd like to not, like, learning that is helpful.
Mm.
So we're going to take our time on that. Okay, so with this same brown, I'm going to drop in our scarlet, like a nice healthy drop of that. A whole pea. Mix this guy up. So it's just a slightly browner version. Again, if you're starting from scratch, this isn't.
We've got another comment that I'd love to share with you. It's from Ruth. She says, I have trouble keeping my paint wet. It is so dry in Tucson that when I want to use a color again, it's dry.
Okay, so that is the worst. And it's a real thing.
Yeah.
A few things you can do. It's one of the reasons why we work in wells, because if this were flat, it would dry like your paint on the paper. Another thing you can do is you can keep a spray bottle nearby and just spray your palette every so often. Artists certainly do that. And then, or you can just mix more paint. Because
that's what I do, Ruth.
Will kind of hold its moisture longer. Okay, so Hershey, do you see the dark parts of the cherry?
Yes.
I'm gonna hit those with this burnt umber and red mixture.
Okay.
So right here.
And correct me if I'm wrong with that, cherry is just straight up scarlet, right?
Well, I'm hitting it with both. I'm going to kind of hit it with scarlet next.
Okay.
Yeah, you could. Why don't you try it with just scarlet and see how that looks?
All right. The lighter part was.
I'm doing the dark parts right now like this.
Right, but what did you use to paint the lighter parts?
Oh, just straight up scarlet and white.
Scarlet and white.
I see your attention there. Yes. Scarlet with a speck of white. And then I'm going to hit the stem again. Just like that. And I'm going to let that dry, and then it might just get some scarlet attention after that. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, it is time to highlight.
Oof.
It's not yet.
Always my favorite part.
I'm not going to highlight yet. I lied.
Okay.
Before we highlight, we're going to take some cobalt blue. And we're going to give a speck of that. And we're going to take, if you have it on your palette, great. If not, a little burnt umber. And when I have just little quantities of something, I like to put it down first and then kind of add it. And that's why I did it this way. So a touch of the burnt umber. Glass can have kind of a blue wash to it. But I want this to definitely look blue. And I'm going to water this down big time. Like this, right?
Okay.
You don't need to use much of it. All right. You're going to want to make sure whatever you're painting underneath is dry. But really where we really see the thick concentrations of our glass, it has kind of a bluish tint. And that's what I am going to paint over with this blue. So in here, around here. Kind of along this way. And then I'm going to leave it alone, but that's what I wanted. I wanted this to look kind of bluish. And that's how I did it.
That's a cool
So,
technique.
highlight time. If you still have some of your red and white paint, add a little bit of white to this. If not, it was just straight up scarlet and white. And we're going to highlight the top of our cherry. And it's lightest just right at the crown kind of the cherry. Around this way. And then if you want to do a little white on top of that, just straight up white to kind of hit a few little right there. For our nuts, I'm going to highlight with yellow ochre, a speck, and white. These are tiny portions, so it can be really anywhere. Just like that. And the light's coming from above, so just kind of the tops of my nuts. Just like that. The highlight here is definitely on the tops of these cookies, but it's on the left side. It's just kind of how the angle is hitting them. Coming down. Like that. I want that even lighter. Adding some more white to that. With that same color, again, mostly white, but with a little bit of, we want it to stay warmer. We don't want it to be as cool as our whipped cream. I'm going to highlight the ice cream. So in here, around here. And then it highlights again in this kind of ripple wave. Adding more white to this. But it's the warmer white. It's not the super white. And it's going to be on the top of this kind of ripple. So around this way. Just like that. Even get into the little nooks and crannies. And then we're definitely going to switch colors because we're moving from our warmer whites to our cooler whites. And I'm actually just going to use straight up white.
All right, that's cool.
Highlight our glass. So Hershey, where are the glass highlights?
The glass highlights are in the center of the foot.
Okay, so right in here, right? That's what you're saying?
Yep. And it looks
and just,
like,
yeah.
Go ahead.
I was just saying, this is just little small strokes like your squiggle strokes. Don't overthink it.
Down there.
So, yeah, around here, where else, Hershey?
You got it going up. What about the?
Like in here?
Yep, right in there. And then also on the top right of the lip there, it looks like it's got some highlights again.
Going in around here, or like definitely this gets whiter around here.
Yeah.
I'm gonna drop that in. But the reason I'm asking Hershey this stuff is because I want Hershey to figure out where these highlights go and not just follow along where
Which is
I'm
what
saying
I've been
that.
doing.
And if you know, well, I don't know, because he's gotten it right every time. So there's a little bit of highlight right here. Over here. And so the other thing here at Time for Art, if it's your first time or you've been here a million times, it's important to learn how to draw as you learn how to paint, but it's not necessarily sequential. You can start painting right away at a really high level. And it's important to us. So that's why we include templates, but we also include drawing practice. So this is one where everybody got to paint, and I think I can't wait to see these. There's also a highlight along this lip down here. And there's even, and again, this is kind of this like leaf pattern kind of going on. So I'm just going to kind of do something with that. And then just take a look at your painting. 8 o'clock if you have to hop off. We always, always, always understand.
Is it already that time?
Yeah, time flies when you're having fun.
Yeah.
And so just take a look at your painting right now and see what needs a little bit of reinforcement. So on my glass highlights, I don't want them to, I want them to look really white. And so I'm just going to go in and kind of second coat the ones I've already done. I want it to be this flat, not variegating white on most of mine. But your painting might need something different. And if it's ever like going south where you're like, this didn't end up the way it was, like turn it into something else. Like I'm going to paint
right.
a cherry on top of storm clouds. Cool.
Enjoy yourself.
Yeah. And we turn the page and we do it again.
Yeah.
And as always, acrylic paint is 100% permanent when it dries. And if you just want to change something, let it dry. Sleep on it. Do something else.
It's good advice.
Come back in.
Good advice.
And we also have some subscribers that really prefer to paint in journals, which is awesome. I'm just highlighting the top of my cream here. I want that to be really white. And my answer to that is awesome. You never, ever have to paint on canvas if you don't want to. Others get really excited to get to paint on canvas. And so do we, and we welcome that. I'm gonna kind of hit a little bit of highlight here. And then I'm wrapping mine up.
Yeah. You know, I was having some problem with the top part of the ice cream, just not looking, there wasn't a lot of depth. And then I added a little bit of gray in there. Now it looks really good.
I don't doubt it. I'm gonna sign this guy. I'm going with the loosest paint on my, to get my, and that's what I've got for tonight. Any closing remarks, Hershey?
Yes. Oh no, we already told them that I thought we were going to tease. I remember we discussed maybe teasing the challenge and then telling them on Monday, but we already did that. So
you can repeat it.
Yeah. So the template challenge this month, guys, is to think of the theme of the sentence caught with your hand in the cookie jar, and to use any of the templates you want to kind of to make a drawing and a painting inside your art book here by the last Friday of the month. That's when they're due. And you'll just make an original piece using the templates. You can use a lot of them. You can use none of them, or use one, at least one actually. And I'm really excited about that because there's a lot less instruction. So just go wild, have a good time with it, because I can't wait.
And it all counts. We round up.
It's true.
Yeah, there's no.
Well, Allison, thank you so much. I had a lot of fun. I hope you have a great weekend. And to all the artists out there in the community, we'll see you guys next week.
All right. Good night, everybody. We'll see you Monday.
Good
Bye.
night.